New York AG seeks to dissolve NRA in lawsuit accusing leaders of self-dealing, causing $64 million in losses. For the record, this is pretty basic stuff. If a nonprofit organization engages in widespread fraud and self-dealing, the state will shut down that organization. This is not even remotely political. I mean, she was elected on the campaign promise that she would go after the NRA. Guess they aren't used to elected officials sticking to their campaign promises? How's it going, by the way? See as how this comment is getting blown up at. Yes, this is a politically motivated attack against the NRA. They left themselves open to this attack by breaking the law. In other words, political rivals of the NRA looked for wrongdoing, and found it, all over the place, and filed a lawsuit. Yes, that is politically motivated. There is nothing wrong with a politically motivated move, especially when the people targeted are actively breaking federal law. If they weren't breaking the law, the AG would have nothing to base this off of. Additionally, they've been tied to illegally providing campaign funds to Republicans from foreign nationals. They've been laundering money to Republicans through their nonprofit for Russia for years. A Democratic nominee targeting them makes sense. They attack the Democrat Party constantly. There have been reports of corrupt dealings within the NRA for years, even that they laundered Russian money into the Trump campaign. Letitia James was the first law enforcement official to formally investigate them, and she's a force to be reckoned with. She's also the one who succeeded in shutting down the Trump Foundation, after it was found to have misused charity funds for campaign events. For Republicans, fraud is part of the party, so being against fraud is political. I'm as big of a gun nut as you can get, but I'm all for this. NRA sucks, and I'd way rather have an organization that isn't just a Republican Party slush fund represent us. The fact that they haven't done anything for Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor, or tons of other various 2A-related events sickens me. I'm a former member and I dropped membership for two primary reasons. The non-reaction on Philando Castile's death and Wayne LaPierre using member dues as his personal slush fund. At the very least, the NRA needs to replace its terrible leadership, which I think the New York AG is more or less claiming they're unable to do. I got a lifetime NRA membership for access to their ranges. In return, all I've gotten is a ton of junk mail just full of propaganda and asking for more money. They don't seem to do a lot. It's like the PTA of firearms. With how the NRA behaves, I honestly had no idea it was a non-profit charity organization till. It still blows my mind that the NRA was able to function for so long as a tax-exempt non-profit. I hope someone looks into tax-exempt megachurches too. So, those who are in charge of NRA, do they have to pay back what they took? As someone who is pro-gun, all I can say is good. The NRA has done little to nothing for a long time and is a corrupt organization. The NRA is corrupt to the core. The last remnants of safety and education were swept away long ago. There is no salvaging it, it must be destroyed. There are lots of new organizations that seek to instruct and educate on the proper use and ownership of firearms, and I hope they can grow once the NRA is removed from the board. The NRA might have been started with good intentions, but it has become wildly corrupt. I realize the US has become highly polarized, but just because NRA execs wrap themselves in the American flag and talk tough doesn't mean their management of the organization is okay. Tens of millions of dollars have been squandered for no other reason than to enrich a small group of people. Fraud is fraud, and the NRA has earned the right to be dissolved at this point. Students suspended after showing fellow students without masks. Suspended for sharing images on social media that paint the school in a negative light, the school announced that anyone else doing the same would also face consequences. The school nurse said it was too unsafe, so she resigned. Edit. Apparently the school nurse was from a neighboring elementary school. How dumb can someone be to think that suspending the student wouldn't blow this up in their faces even more? Then the guy makes an announcement over the PA threatening consequences to anyone sharing photos that make them look bad. LOL. Of course that's going to be recorded and shared as well. Is the administration mad they can't keep something from going viral? Wearing a mask is a personal choice, and there is no practical way to enforce a mandate to wear them, Superintendent Oates said. But they sure found a quick and easy way to enforce a restriction on a student sharing their concern. Gotta think that suspension's gonna cost them something. Also, like a superintendent has never heard of a dress code before? Yeah, making subordinates wear something is impossible. The student was suspended for sharing the photo, and a school nurse in the district quit because of how unsafe the school's conditions are. Anyone caught reporting a crime will be punished. Well, the good part is the kid who took the photo gets to stay safe at home and not be truant. Big brain level. Wow, at first I thought it was more because of privacy issues on recording minors, but the principal straight up said, if you post anything that puts the school in a negative light, there will be consequences. The school nurse resigned out of safety concerns. The school isn't taking this very serious if they're suspending students for reporting safety concerns. When adults find themselves punishing children for accurately sharing conditions, it is time to seriously reevaluate what's going on. Effective immediately, students are no longer allowed to bring phones or recording devices of any kind to school. Beirut explosion. Anti-government protests break out in city. Imagine if this happened on US soil. I know this isn't part of this news, but I have a concern. There are videos going around about the Beirut explosion that are calling this explosion an attack from maybe the Gov itself or from a different country. There are people spreading conspiracy theories showing videos or an inverse color of the before video, and it's showing a very bright light that looks like a missile before the shockwave hit. Do you guys see these video, and why are people saying that this is actually a missile attack? I'm so confused and mad people are saying this. Texas scientist and mother of two killed during her regular morning run. Sarmista Sen had gotten up early for a run, and at some point in time came across her attacker, according to Plano Police Department Public Information Officer David Tilley. Wow, this guy must be a master criminologist to have figured that shit out. Lady staring at math equations and a triangle meme. Also, tell me again how I need to exercise regularly? 43% of women experience harassment while running. Reddit. Actually feminism isn't necessary anymore. What is necessary is a strong movement among men to always call each other to be far better. A cultural drive to not harass, not attack. To manage emotions and show respect. There's an ad on a bus stop near me with a picture of a man and woman standing with each other that says real men respect her wishes. Don't sexually assault women. I'm not paraphrasing, that's the exact text of the ad. It blows my mind that there has to be a PSA campaign for that. I'm fine with social justice as long as it's not inconvenient for me. Ignorant people. Men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them. My heart goes out to her husband and children. She sounds like an amazing human being. We truly lost a good one. Can you imagine if this was your loved one? I'm so tired of being female. It's truly terrifying at times. Another epidemic that needs to be addressed here in America. Good thing about our futuristic modern society is cameras. Cameras everywhere. We catch these fuckers the first time they pull this shit and fry them. In the past these guys became serial killers. Suspension lifted off Georgia's student who posted photos of crowded hall. Alternative headline. School officials realize suspending student for exposing lax social distancing makes them look worse, not like heroes. It's pretty wild they didn't expect this to blow up in their faces spectacularly. Tell a bunch of high school kids not to do something in regards to their safety, lol good luck with that. Have you met my friend Streisand effect? My daughter had an issue at one point where a side effect of a medication caused her to obsessively pluck at her hair. She created a little bald spot and wore a beanie to cover it and keep herself from pulling out more hair. We went to the school administration, the counselor and the assistant principal, and they gave her an exception to the dress code to wear the beanie. It meant putting a little sticker on her ID, so teachers and staff didn't bug her. Then like clockwork almost every day the principal of the school would single her out in the hall and tell her to take the beanie off. She would have to explain that she had a pass. My wife would call and complain, and the assistant principal and counselor would swear they'd get the issue cleared up with the principal. Then finally one day he physically snatched the beanie off her head in the middle of a crowded hall of kids. My wife pulled our daughter that day and started homeschooling her. I'm sure there are millions of examples of school staff and administrators ignoring rules and mistreating people because they think they know better. If it makes them look bad or they don't agree with someone personally, then they're going to use their position for their own purposes. My sister got detention one time for writing a critical school newspaper article about the school. Yeah, they are assholes. The bit about masks got me. They say that masks are encouraged, but it's just no practical way to enforce mandatory masks. They sure as shit seem to have found a way to enforce their "don't take photos of us doing bad things because it makes us look bad" rule. Maybe they should try using the same methods when it comes to masks.